There are currently two movies in theaters right now about evil witches, and I've only seen one of them, but if I get around to the second, I guarantee my opinion is going to be the same for both of them. Not a very optimistic start to this review, I know, I'm sorry. But while no one else is going to see Snow White, I was sent a screener for the new movie Hood Witch by Dark Sky Films. This movie was originally filmed and distributed as Rakia internationally in 2003, but was just this year given a US release and renamed to Hood Witch, which is what I will be referring to it as for this review. Hood Witch is honestly very promising. The movie is about a modern day practitioner of witchcraft in the Hood in France. I don't know what city it is. It might have been Paris. I didn't catch that part. And she has a lot going on in her life. She is an illegal goods dealer. She's also a tech developer with a brand new cutting edge app that is kind of just Uber for witches and spiritual consultants. She's trying to develop this app and get big and get rich off of it. But throughout this process and right after the height of its success, one of her clients kills himself. I can say that. This is YouTube, not TikTok. You can say it on TikTok too. I don't know why people are so scared to say that. And after this event, which she is very present for, she's caught up in, the world kind of turns on her and creates this new modern day witch hunt for her. And now she is struggling to protect her son, find some kind of safety in the city, while it seems everybody in the world is trying to find her and cause her and her son harm. This movie really focuses on dangers of social media and this mob mentality that social media really helps ignite the flames of. And I feel bad because there are some interesting concepts in here, like it's trying to show what a modern day literal witch hunt would look like. I mean, the girl's a witch. She's a witch. She puts the frog legs, and I know this is France, but she puts frog legs in potions and people trip balls. And before I deep dive into my review, I need to disclose that no matter what I'm reviewing, whether it's the biggest budget ever or the smallest budget ever, whether it's an indie studio or Disney, I will judge every movie on its own merit. I've seen some incredible films made on a $10 budget and some real crap made for $300 million. I mean, just this year alone, one of the best movies I've watched is Extremely Unique Dynamic, which I don't know if anybody's heard about. It's barely even a feature film, but it really blew me away. And movies should not get a pass, should not skate by on circumstance. If a movie is bad, it is bad. That's just how it is. And that's this movie, unfortunately. I could not wait for this to be over. Hood Witch's problems begin in the very first scene, where it absolutely fails at making a sympathetic protagonist. The movie begins with this woman, Noor, and her son going through an airport security checkpoint, and she gets flagged for a surprise security check. And it sets this up as, okay, so she's a minority, they're flagging her, they're being racist or xenophobic or something. Except no, she's actually carrying extremely dangerous, illegal goods on her. And these actions are totally justified. We see her home life where it's just her and her son, and she's constantly putting her son into all these incredibly dangerous situations with no respect for his well-being. And when we get to the point in the movie where the world starts to fall apart and people are trying to take her son away from her, there are some things that happen to her that I do not condone. She gets beat up and mugged pretty badly. That's not cool. But yes, she should probably be separated from her son. She is a lunatic. She is an insane person that is, in the real world, would get her son killed. But that's just like the jumping off point of my issue. Character development is a thing. Character arcs are a thing. Character journeys are very important. One of my favorite movies ever is Trainspotting, and that's about heroin addicts. And we witness them doing the most abhorrent things possible to unsuspecting people, totally innocent people. They are the worst people imaginable. Yet by the end of the movie, there is so much development. There's an actual arc. There is redemption to these characters, some of these characters. Mark gets his redemption. Begbie obviously doesn't. So I was hoping that with this one, it'd be kind of the same. Like, okay, yes, maybe she'll learn the error of her ways. She'll use this witchcraft to do good by her son. And clean up her act a bit, but no, she does not. It's not good. It's not. The thing is with this movie, everybody acts so irrationally. Now I understand the point of, the mob mentality is people act irrationally, and I understand that. But people act irrational in a rational way. What I mean is people do lose their minds, but there's a certain threshold of, okay, this is a sane person that is having their moment of irrationality because of the mob mentality, versus that person's just a psychopath. Straight up. The catalyst for all the conflict is, like I said, one of her clients kills themselves. Now, the way this scene is set up is she tries to have this exorcism, doesn't really work. She leaves the premises, and while out on the street with dozens of people around, her previous client jumps from the top of the building and kills himself. So very obviously, she did not push him. Yet, everybody points at her and says, you did this, and then they try to grab her, they chase her down, they try to murder her. Why? Who would honestly respond like that? You were all there, you all witnessed it. Just because some guy is shouting from the rooftop, she's to blame? It makes no sense. But then it gets crazier. As the mob chases her down, they follow her back to her home and kind of trap her in her apartment at the top floor of this building. Now, she's trapped, she has nowhere to go. The logical thing, if you are an angry mob, is just to break down the door and grab her. They want her alive, yet for some reason, the mob decides to just burn the building down. Because that is how you invoke justice, is destroying a building. You burn a building down in the name of justice to find one person to take them in for questioning. It is insane. This movie makes no sense. And I can't even say that aside from the writing, it's competently made because there is such a lack of attention to detail. Being a strong commentary on social media and how we use it to create mobs, a lot of footage is direct, like screen recordings, Instagram and TikTok. The problem with this is the screen recordings they use make no actual sense. There are a lot of instances of supposed live streaming where it's very clearly a recording. It's very clearly a post, not a live feed. And I bring this up because it's there's one scene that's the epitome of all of these tiny detail flaws scattered throughout the movie that shows nobody was really paying attention in the editing, in the general filmmaking process. So there's a scene where one of the antagonists is live streaming, digging up this cursed object our protagonist has placed on him. It's established that it's a live stream, yet the visuals show that it's a post. There's the Instagram like, comment, share tabs on the side, and there's hashtags at the bottom, as there are with posts. So I think, okay, maybe I misunderstood the setup for this scene. He's gonna find it, we're at a situation. Obviously, he's still gonna be alive to post this. No, it's a live stream and he dies. Yet the formatting of this is all wrong. And this may sound very nitpicky, but like I said, this just kind of sums up so many issues I have with this movie and the lack of attention to detail. These are not issues you would see in a Steven Spielberg or a Martin Scorsese movie. I know those are like cliche things, cliche people to compare this to, but I compare them because they're easy comparisons. And it's not even like, well, they're not Martin Scorsese, they're not Christopher Nolan, they don't have to have that high of a standard. These are very simple things that the movie just doesn't pay attention to. So I'm sorry to say, Dark Sky, thank you for sending me this movie to watch. I did not enjoy it. I give it 1 out of 5 stars. I don't recommend seeing it. I wouldn't say see Snow White instead this weekend if you're looking for that kind of evil witch kind of movie. Maybe stay home, watch anything else. The original Snow White, not this Hood Witch movie. Also, I was so thrown off by the title. I thought it was gonna be like Leprechaun in the Hood. It was not like that. It was a very serious drama. So that was kind of disappointing.